I got a rock.
He runs his mouth, he talks the way he wants to.
To not be awful.
Why is he going to New York? Well, because it's New York. Just in general, I don't like the Yankees, so maybe I'm extremely biased here.
This guy here, I mean, it's almost like the sky's the limit at this point. Arnold Palmer, Jack Nicklaus, and Tiger Woods, which is a pretty strong company to be in when you're only 21 years old.
I think they'd be silly not to take Connor McDavid.
Oh, they're taking Connor McDavid without a question.
We're about to see the deal of the century.
BSS Sports with Steve, Tom, and Trevor. Mondays at 2:30 on 91X.
Welcome back to another episode of BSS Sports with myself, Stephen Schill, and Trevor Struthers. I'm Thomas Brooks. Special guest, Zenga J. McCurdy. We're talking football.
How's it going
today? Boys, let's get into it.
All right, so, I mean, where to start? Thomas, which game do you want to start at, my man?
We're starting with the Chiefs and Texans.
Chiefs and Texans. All right. Well, Brian Hoyer, 101 over here. All right. So, 30-0 for the Chiefs. The kickoff. They return it for a touchdown. Things pretty much just go downhill. J.J. Watt pulls his groin. I don't really think there's much in Houston to be excited about. I mean, you're in kind of a weak division. Brian Hoyer's your QB. I don't really know what you do. RG3? Like, he's coming around. It depends if Washington wants to pick up their option on him. Do you see anybody at all RG3 in those Houston colors?
You know, possibly RG3. He's been injury prone, but he's still a young talent, and he's a lot way to go. Like, he's a long way to go as long as he gets healthy this coming off season. Why not Houston pick him up? Because Brian Hoyer in this game going 15 for 34 with 136 yards, 0 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, and 3 sacks. You can't win championships with that type of play.
That's a good point. Now we're looking at the Patriots and the Chiefs facing off. Who do you like in that matchup, Trev?
It's hard to kind of go against the Patriots. They're pretty good, right? I mean, it's hard to just bet against the Patriots in general with, the quarterback, Tom Brady, obviously, doing what he does. And, they're such a well-structured football team. You always kind of have this benchmark for where they're at. The Patriots should definitely win that game.
Well, the Chiefs traded, for Alex Smith, and the 49ers are hella regretting that now. Colin Kaepernick not really doing much, and John Harbaugh down in Michigan. But the next game is probably the game that we can spend hours talking about. The Cincinnati Bengals versus them almighty Pittsburgh Steelers. Ben Roethlisberger goes down. Fans throwing stuff at Roethlisberger on the field. We have interceptions galore. People getting knocked out left, right, and the center. Fans are getting into it. Social media is flaring up, and it's great fun. But people got knocked out and severely injured over that. The hit by Burfict, I think is his name. Are we thinking that's a suspensible play? Because he got fined for that hit. There was a lot of people, including Deion Sanders on the NFL Network, that said that hit was clean. But, I mean, you're running with your shoulder into a dude's head. And
It's clean.
Yeah, but okay, see, the thing that I kind of find weird is why didn't he just wrap him? Why do you have to tank him as hard as you can in a game that is already completely out of control?
It's playoffs times, man. You know, testosterone's high. Guys really want to make a statement. So, you know, they're
making a statement by giving a guy a concussion?
It's part of the game. It really is. You know, as long as it's not a helmet to helmet, it's a clean hit. Like, and this is coming from a guy who's played football for many years.
A guy who's played football who's like 6 foot whatever, probably the biggest guy on the field. And yep, it's a clean hit because nobody can do that to me.
It's a clean hit. It is. I've been knocked out before. Same type of deal with the shoulder to the helmet, and it's a clean hit. No one's gonna scrap over it. But like, yeah, helmet to helmet. Dirty hit.
Is that why the NFL is entertaining, though? Because of how violent it is?
I think you could say so, and I think that's part of the large appeal for hockey in America, I almost feel like, is the physicality of hockey, if people are entertained enough in hockey in America, for hockey in America. But yeah, I mean, it's the physical aspect. That's what football is based around, right? Like, there's going to be hits on every play. That's football.
Yeah, for sure.
Where hockey, it's not necessarily needed in the game.
I think there's an emphasis on playoffs. So, like, I mean, it just seems that everything, like gameplay, performance, aggression, everything gets extremely enhanced. Like, when people say, you know, I only watch sports for the playoffs, at first I was like, that's stupid. But after watching that weekend, every single game, there is such a difference between mentality.
Oh, for sure. And in basketball, you have best of sevens. In hockey, you have best of sevens. Baseball, you have best of fives, best of sevens. In football, it's one game. And that's why, you know, playoff football is to the level that it is. It's desperation for both teams because no matter what, whoever loses is done.
For sure. And we're looking at the Seahawks, who's made the Super Bowl, looking for their third year in a row. Russell Wilson getting out of things, in trouble a lot throughout the game. But the kick, Blair Walsh missing the kick from 20 yards out. Right in front, sure. He had the laces facing him, okay? I understand. It's really hard to kick a football from 20 yards in the playoffs right in front of your net. I get it. It's hard.
There's no excuses.
But the coach, I wanted the coach just to break down laughing and just be like, man, I hate my life.
He had one job. Yes. One job. Literally, he's the kicker. One friggin' job. And he messed
and
up.
It's no excuses, man. It's playoff times. This is like Trevor said, this is do or die. You like in those situations you have to make those game winning kicks or those overtime kicks. You have to be able to do that type of stuff.
For sure. But the thing is also, he was responsible for all 9 points they had that game with the three previous field goals as well. And if their offense was able to contribute with, say, a touchdown, I mean, that's always nice, right? Then they wouldn't have had that field goal spot. They would have won the game.
The Seahawks, I think in like their last 6 games, have given up 1 touchdown, which is ridiculous. So, like, if they're going to the Super Bowl, it's going to be because of their defense. Russell Wilson had a rough game. Like, it was 9-0 or whatever for the majority of the game. Again, towards the end, kind of like Aaron Rodgers, which we'll talk about in a minute, but towards the end, he picked things up and he was able to bring out his A game. But the Vikings defense, where the hell did that come from? I mean, like, I don't watch many Minnesota games, but they were, like, able to do a lot. And I don't know if it was Russell Wilson just not doing much, Marshawn Lynch being out. I don't know, but it seemed like the Minnesota defense was virtually unstoppable until the fourth quarter. Now, the final game of the day, the Redskins versus the Packers. And the Redskins, everybody thought they were going to win because of how bad the Packers have been recently. Aaron Rodgers not fulfilling his role, Eddie Lacy being injured / not really doing a whole lot. But Green Bay was on fire towards the end of this game. Redskins came out really hot and were able to take the lead for pretty much the whole game. I mean, I believe it was like 3-0 going into the second half, but then it went up to 9-0. But then Green Bay came back, and then somehow we end up with a score of 32 or 38-19, I believe it was. What's happened in Green Bay? Like, is this just a playoff team, or and they're coming out in the clutch? Like, what are we thinking here?
Well, from like, if you look from the stats wise, like I would say, Aaron Rodgers, he had a good passing game. It was more so the run game that really solidified the win for the team. But it could have went either way because Kirk Cousins, he had a pretty good game. If he didn't get those 6 sacks, he threw for like over 300 yards. And 1 touchdown. Without those 6 sacks, game possibly would have went the other way. But
the thing that everybody's saying, it's a good thing that the best team moved forward. But do you really think that Green Bay was the best team in that game?
Yeah. Honestly, you have Aaron Rodgers, Eddie Lacy, a bunch of other great guys on the defense. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if they make it to the Super Bowl. I wouldn't be surprised if this is their year again. So
I thought Clay Matthews was a nice guy, but ever since watching him in the playoffs, he just seems like a downright dirty dog. So now moving on to basketball, what is with the players, especially the rookies, that don't understand not to hang out at clubs at 2 and 3 a.m.? Because I was hearing this rumor the other day that another NBA rookie got shot at a club because he was out at like 3 a.m. You're a professional athlete. Sure, I know you want to live up to Johnny Manziel. I get it. I get it, man. Like, Johnny Manziel, all that cash money. But why are they putting everything on the line just to go out with some buddies who probably weren't even their friends until they became famous?
It's because they're young, man. People do that. Zanga goes to clubs.
You go to clubs at 3 a.m. and get shot.
No. You know what? I don't know if the association, the NBA association, if they have the same thing the NFL does. They have like a symposium every year for rookies where older players, veterans, they come in and they say, look, this is what you're not supposed to do. Don't be doing this. Don't be doing that. I don't know if the NBA does that. Maybe they need to be doing more of that for the kids.
Kobe Bryant isn't a part of it at all.
But maybe he was in his younger years. We just don't know.
I don't know about
social media wasn't as big of a thing when Kobe Bryant was a rookie.
See, okay, look,
Kobe was 18 when he came in the league. Look, you gotta remember that too. Like, he's still a teenager, right? He hadn't really lived his life.
Kobe, he's retiring. I get it.
The greatest.
You think that. No. I don't
honestness.
know. I don't like. He's retiring. It could like. I mean, when Michael Jordan was finishing, I mean that was a huge deal. Here, well, Michael Jordan decided to switch to baseball, so that was kind of random. But we're gonna avoid that topic. But okay, so it's a main player. Probably like Kobe versus LeBron James. When LeBron retires, and we look back at Kobe's retirement, who's gonna have the bigger celebrations like throughout the retirement like tour per se?
Kobe.
Why?
Kobe has been.
I don't like him. Like his personality. I don't know what it is. Like I just don't like. I don't like LeBron James either. But I mean, I'm just saying. Sorry, Thomas. If you want to,
Do you think that Kobe's the best ever, Zanga?
I think he's one of the greatest.
He's full of it.
No,
he's
he
full of it.
He is. If you think about it, he's proven himself time and time again because
He's proven himself. Michael Carter Williams is a guy who's proven himself, okay?
Oh, my word.
If we're looking at Kobe, what has he done? He throws up hundreds and hundreds, millions of shots. Right? Misses half of them, but gets half of them in. Oh, so he's got a good shooting percentage because it's above 500. I'm going to take 100 shots. I'm going to get 51 of them in. That's a positive record. In the playoffs. Look, I can do it slightly better.
How many rings?
Oh, there we go.
How many rings does he have?
Rings? Look at his team.
How many rings?
Look at his team.
He's carried those teams. Every single championship team that ever been on the Lakers since Kobe got there, Kobe has carried the team. You cannot dispute that fact.
That's debatable.
If Kobe wasn't on those teams, they wouldn't have won the championships. Guaranteed.
Ron Artest is the man that led those teams.
Meta freaking world peace.
I'm totally kidding.
Ron Artest.
I'm kidding. But the point being is if you look at championship teams, okay, the Warriors, the Spurs, those guys were teams.
Golden
and
State.
The Lakers, what were they?
They were a team, but they were a team led by one man.
That's the thing, but you're like, no, it's Kobe. See, sure, you can see.
They were a team, but they were led by one man, though.
You could say Stephen Curry, I don't care how you say it, is like the leader of that team. But without those other people contributing, just because he's the big name, because, he makes a couple of shots, which I argue that, see, here's the difference. Steve Curry doesn't have to shoot a bunch of shots just to, get that good shooting percentage, because he just does it right off the bat. But, I mean, we'll continue on with this whole Kobe Bryant thing. But, I get it. Look, you're an athlete, you're cool, whatever. But suddenly now that he's retiring, he's trying to have, this good guy image. When before, he didn't give a crap about the Lakers. He took as much money as possible when he knew he was on the decline, and then he got injured. What kind of a guy does that? He's just trying to put the team that he supposedly put on this pedestal and just bringing them down.
A guy that's trying to make money who does that. He's a baller, bro. He's getting paid.
Okay, you know what?
He doesn't give a darn. He's won what he's wanted to win. All he wanted was one more championship, and he would have been set. If he didn't get that, whatever. He's a millionaire. Who cares?
I hate Kobe Bryant. That's the end of the point.
LeBron would do the same thing.
That's why I don't like LeBron James either. I'm a Tim Duncan kind of man, okay?
Tim Duncan. Okay.
Tim Duncan's great.
All right, the Winter Classic. We haven't been here in a while, so we got to talk about it. The Bruins at Gillette Stadium taking on them damn Canadians, and for some reason they can't beat the Canadians no matter what. The point being, though, the Bruins just didn't show up, and I don't know what to say other than that.
Yeah, they just really didn't. And, in front of I don't know how many people were jammed
70,000.
Okay. In front of 70,000 people in Gillette Stadium, to just, not show up like that, at least until, later in the game, because they were out of it for the complete first half of that game.
They didn't even look like they were trying.
Yeah, it's just, maybe they were a bit out of their element. With that being said, I don't think anybody's played any more outdoor games over the last few years than Boston, but maybe they were a little bit out of their element in Gillette Stadium. And if the game was at the TD Garden, maybe the situation would have been different. But, they were completely out of the first half of that game. There's no excuse for it, especially when you're playing a vulnerable team like Montreal without Carey Price.
And Gallagher just coming back from an injury, too, so you could argue that he would be per se soft during that game. But nope, he was able to grind, taking on Zdeno Chara virtually every play. And the height difference is like me and Zanga. And Zanga's 6 foot whatever, and I'm like 5 foot whatever. So there is quite the difference in there. And he's all smirking over there, but he's got a haircut, so he looks even shorter than he normally is. Now, anyway, so that's it for this episode of BSS Sports. Big shout out to Thomas Brooks being the man out in the studio. We got Zanga J. Thanks for popping by, my man. And of
you
course,
guys are welcome.
Trevor Struthers. I'm Stephen Schill. We'll catch you next week.